Welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about the Rossignol Experience 86 Ti. Now, I skied these in a 185, which means they have an 18 meter turn radius, and as the name suggests, an 86 millimeter width underfoot. Now, these skis were not provided to me by Rossignol or any other company. I went to my local demo shop at my home mountain at Bogus Basin and paid to demo these skis. Now, I actually demoed like 4 different Rossignol skis that day. They let you demo as many skis as you want, so I kind of did a mini marathon all day of skiing on Rossignol skis, and this was the 3rd ski that I skied on. So with that being said, this is just my honest opinion. This is what I think of the skis. There's no money changing hands. I don't know anyone. This is just my raw, unfiltered opinion. Now, that being said, if you find this review useful and you end up wanting to buy the ski, I will have an affiliate link down below so you can buy them. That's kind of a free way of supporting the channel. If you're going to buy them anyway, we get a small percentage. It's not much, but it does help support us long term. So if you like this kind of content, please consider doing that. You can also like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's just jump right into my thoughts. Now, if you watch the intro, there is not a ton of ski footage. I got about 3 runs recorded, but overall I skied about 6 runs. Midway through the day while I was demoing all these skis, my GoPro battery died. You know, I kind of learned my lesson. I always carry a spare now. But there isn't a ton of footage, but I wanted to give you my thoughts on it anyway, and you should still be able to get the fundamentals of how the ski feels on snow. Now, this ski comes standard with Rossignol's poplar wood core. It has 2 layers of Titanol and a carbon alloy matrix kind of toward the tips. You'll see it in the decal, as well as what they call their rectangular sidewall. It's just basically making, if you looked at the skis from the side, a rectangle on the sidewall. Not that complex, but just wanted to let you know a little bit about the construction. Overall construction, these skis use a mixture of carbon and Titanol. Now, I had a hard time finding the weight, so if you know the weight of the ski, please leave a comment down below for everyone else. But I will say they felt, I don't know, on the heavier side. They're not super light skis. They're really kind of that heavier, stable carving ski. I would guess they're probably in a 185, closer to 1900 to 2000 grams per ski. But I don't know, that's just off the top of my head. It's really hard to tell just based on your feet. There's a lot of other pieces that go into play, bindings, etc. And like I said, Rossignol didn't provide these. This was done from the demo shop at my mountain, so I don't have them in hand anymore. But now that we've talked specs, let's talk about how the ski actually felt on snow. Now, this will maybe be a little bit of a mini review because like I said, I didn't get a ton of time with these skis. I just kind of got some solid runs on them, took them on each different part of the mountain, but I think I got still a pretty good handle on how they felt. So let's talk about the good, and then we'll talk about the bad. The good, for me, honestly, the good for me revolved around 2 main factors. One was the great flex that it had. It was like just a nice, even flex, but then it held stable at the arc of the turn without kind of throwing you around. It was very consistent. You always kind of got exactly out of the ski what you put into it, and it was like the amount of energy you put in and the amount you got out was just very, very consistent. And that's kind of across the board. This was just a very consistent ski. Consistent performance on the groomers. Consistent turn shape. Consistent chatter and dampness. It was just across the board a very well-rounded ski. And I felt like it always kind of gave me the same performance. I could rely on it to go pretty much everywhere on the mountain and feel good on my feet. The second thing I really enjoyed about the Rossignol experience was its turn diversity. Not every ski does this. Some skis are very locked into short turn radiuses, or they really only feel good in long turn radiuses. I felt like with this Rossignol 86 Experience Ti, it did a really good job of having a lot of different shapes, especially amongst all of the other Rossignol skis I skied that day. This one felt like it had the widest range. You know, it has that 18 meter turn radius, but I honestly felt like you could slam it down and get like a 16 to 17 meter radius and then stretch it out and get a 19 meter radius. Of all the Rossignol skis, this was probably the most flexible in what kind of turns it felt good in. And also just like in doing that, I felt like there wasn't any part of the mountain that the ski really struggled as long as it was on trail, like groomed. Like you could do anywhere from a green circle to a black diamond and still enjoy it. It very much reminded me a lot of the Volkl Kendo, just in that it had a lot more flexibility in turn radiuses than the kind of more flagship skis you tend to see with Rossignol. Really, like, the biggest praise I have for the ski is that I think that if I was looking for a demo ski and I just wanted something that was safely going to be comfortable, this is a ski I would pick for a demo ski because it just makes sense everywhere. You can take it on groomed trails and it's gonna feel good everywhere on the mountain. Off trail, it felt okay. It was serviceable. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful either. It kind of fits the bill of an all-mountain ski, even though it doesn't look like some of the other all-mountain skis you find out there. It's definitely more groomed run heavy, but it performed overall everywhere on the mountain. There wasn't anywhere I felt like I couldn't take it. Now, is it great in powder? Obviously not. Is it okay in the trees? It's just okay. It's not like really thriving off trail like a QST or an Atomic Maverick, but it held up okay and I didn't feel unstable or anything bad. This was kind of the most surprising Rossignol ski of the day, just because it had across the board performance that I wasn't expecting. It looks very unassuming, but it will give you an overall pretty strong experience. Now, like I said, this is primarily for groomed trails, but across the board conditions on those groomed trails, I felt like the ski was very consistent in its performance. And when you're looking at a demo ski and you just want to explore a new mountain, I think that that's actually pretty high praise. But now that we've talked about the good, let's talk about the bad. And like every ski, this ski has some downsides. Now, I said that on groomed trails, this ski feels very consistent. The turn shape feels very good. The flex pattern, everything feels nice. But one of the ski's biggest weaknesses, honestly, is that it is a lot more limited in the off-trail performance than most high-end all-mountain skis you'll see out there. The Atomic Maverick, the Salomon QST, they just way outshine the ski when it comes to off-trail. This seems like a ski that is not intended to go off-trail or to go in the powder. It really has no flotation to find. It really struggles with, like, I don't know, kind of like quick, easy turns in the trees. This is meant to stay on the groomed runs. But, you know, just so you know what to expect from it. It is not a good off-trail ski. It is not a good, like, soft snow, light powdered day ski. This ski really struggles as soon as it doesn't follow where the snowcat went, right? As soon as the groomed runs and corduroy is gone, this ski really starts to flounder and you really start to see the limitations. Now, that doesn't mean that the ski is like a bad ski overall, but just the way it was constructed, the way it was built, is very limited to that arena. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like in the turns that the ski feels comfortable in, it feels really good. The flex and the responsiveness, everything is kind of dialed in perfectly. But once you get this ski out of its element, it is totally just a fish out of water. It really struggles in kind of the uncalculated variety of off-trail skiing. Now lastly, let's talk price. This ski is typically about $1,100, but that's with bindings, so a pretty budget-friendly ski. But right now you can get it for $714.97 on Evo. I will provide a link down below. I would say at that price with bindings, you're looking at about what, like a $400 or $500 ski, especially since these are look bindings. I don't know. I think that this value is actually pretty good. I just think that you should know what you're getting into. Like if you're somebody who is trying to start to go off trail, the value on a Salomon QST right now is probably better. Same for an Atomic Maverick or a head core ski. But if you're looking for something and you know you're not going to take it off the groomed runs and you've demoed the ski and really liked it, I could pretty easily recommend it. So overall value is decent. Not the best, but pretty solid when you consider you don't have to mount bindings or deal with that, and that just takes a whole nother step out of the process for somebody buying skis. So now let's talk score. I think for this ski, honestly, if you're somebody who is looking for a solid groomed run ski performance, overall, I think this is a fantastic option for somebody who wants to get into skiing. It's budget friendly, it's got good performance. Just make sure it's what you want. You know, this is a pretty stiff ski. And I like stiff skis, I like that stable platform, I like that even flex, but make sure that's what you're actually looking for. I don't know if I could like sight unseen recommend these, because while they have a lot of diversity for people who are staying on groomed runs, there really isn't a lot to write home about when it comes to off-trail performance. It's there, but it's pretty minimal. So it's not like a sight unseen recommendation that I would make, but if you've tried it, if you like Rossignol skis, if you like that kind of nice even flex, I think that the ski is very slept on. I also reviewed the Forza and the Sender, and this one kind of sneaks under the radar, similar to the Atomic Maverick, and I found its performance to be more consistent and overall a lot more fun than most of those skis. I think for the majority of people out there on the trails, this is actually like a fantastic option, and everybody kind of gravitates more towards these other skis. And in part, I think that's because the ski doesn't have a lot of diversity and people like having options. But it's kind of like crossover vehicles, right? Like, oh, well, I want the option to have clearance and get through stuff. But the majority of people are just taking it to Target or Starbucks, you know, and I'm not knocking that at all. I'm just saying that I think for most people, this is actually a really great option. But I can see why it's not popular because it is very limited in its scope. But overall, I liked it a lot. It was probably one of my favorite Rossignol skis of the day. I think my favorite was probably the Sender 110 Free, because that ski was just amazing. But then right behind it was this ski. I think if you're looking for like a 2-ski quiver and you're only shopping Rossignol, you could get the Sender 110 and the Rossignol Experience 86 and have a pretty good quiver lined up, honestly. So for me, overall, it's a pretty good value. It's a decent ski. I just wish it had a little bit more range, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's a nice ski. It just is a little pigeonholed into on-trail performance, but I think Rossignol was almost smart in doing that because realistically, that's where most people will take the ski anyway. So anyway, that's my review of the Rossignol Experience 86 Ti. Like I said before, I'll have a link down below if you found this review useful and you want to purchase it. If you like this kind of content, please consider doing that. It helps me out and it helps kind of get this channel out to other people. You can do that for free by liking and subscribing. But as always, just thanks for watching my content. I appreciate that you guys are here. I appreciate that you watch. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.